Imagine a country that spent decades being told its cars were loud and could not turn. Then, in one decade, that country built the fastest car at the Nurburgring, a sedan that outruns Bugattis, and a $60,000 mid-engine supercar challenger. America broke the whole game. Today, I am ranking the top 10 American cars of the modern era. Which car is the best? We will find out in a moment. Number 10. Ford Maverick. Around $23,000. Standard hybrid, 42 miles per gallon in the city. Not a performance car. It's here because it changed the entire truck market. When Ford launched this compact hybrid pickup, it achieved 42 miles per gallon for about $23,000. Demand was so overwhelming that Ford had to suspend orders multiple times. Sales went from 74,000 in 2022 to over 118,000 in 2024, outselling the Ford Ranger 3-1. It won 2025 North American Truck of the Year, while the rest of the industry kept building bigger, heavier, more expensive trucks. Ford went the other direction, and it worked better than anyone predicted. This little truck proved there is a massive audience Detroit had been ignoring for years. Number 9. The Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk. Priced at $86,000 with 707 horsepower and a supercharged Hemi Vibe 8. It is a family SUV with all-wheel drive, 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, a quarter mile in 11.6 seconds, and a top speed of 180 miles per hour. It also tows 7,200 pounds. When it launched, it was the fastest production SUV in the world. Only about 9,000 to 11,000 were ever built. It proved you could put a Hellcat engine into anything, and that directly led to the Ram TRX. Number 8. Ford Bronco. Starting at $28,500 up to 330 horsepower, available with a 7-speed manual. Ford discontinued the Bronco in 1996. 25 years later, they brought it back, and 190,000 people put down reservations before a single one was built. With the Sasquatch package, it gets 11.6 inches of ground clearance and a 43-degree approach angle. Beating the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, the Bronco Raptor pushed it further, 418 horsepower, factory 37-inch tires, and a 47-degree approach angle. Sales hit over 127,000 in 2023. It did not just compete with the Wrangler, it broke Jeep's monopoly on the segment. For 25 years, if you wanted a body-on-frame off-roader with removable doors, Jeep was your only option. Not anymore. Number 7. Ram 1500 TRX, $69,995, 702 horsepower, 0 to 60 in about 3.7 seconds. A full-size truck weighing 6,350 pounds with a Hellcat V8. It reached 60 faster than a Porsche Cayman, Bilstein adaptive shocks, 13 inches of suspension travel, and 8 drive modes, including Baja. It won 2021 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. VIN001 sold for $410,000 at Barrett-Jackson. Around 50,000 were produced before it ended in 2024. Ford answered with the Raptor R, 720 horsepower from a supercharged V8 derived from the GT500's engine, but the TRX started the supertruck war. Absurd in every way. Nothing else on earth like it. Number 6. Ford Mustang Shelby GT500, $73,995, 760 horsepower, 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3.3 seconds. The most powerful street-legal Ford ever built. It makes more horsepower than the Ford GT supercar, a supercharged 5.2-liter V8 paired with the first dual-clutch transmission in Mustang history, shifting in 80 milliseconds. Quarter-mile times land in the mid-10s. under $74,000 for 760 factory horsepower, a ridiculous amount of performance per dollar. Its spiritual successor, the 2025 Mustang GTD, ran a 6 minutes, 52 seconds lap at the Nurburgring for $325,000. Ford went from muscle car to legitimate supercar. Number 5, the Tesla Model S PLA8. It lists for $89,990. It makes 1,020 horsepower and reaches 0 to 60 miles per hour in 1.99 seconds. Love Tesla or hate them, this car rewrote the rules. Over 1,000 horsepower, under 2 seconds to 60 miles per hour, and a quarter mile in 9.23 seconds. It costs $90,000. A McLaren 720S costs 3 times that and loses in a straight line. With the track package, it hits 200 miles per hour, and it holds the Nürburgring electric vehicle record at 7 minutes 25 seconds. Critics say the Porsche Taycan handles and stops better. Fair, but the Plaid proved electric power could humiliate anything with a combustion engine. For the price of a BMW M5, it turned every stoplight into a potential embarrassment for cars costing 5 times as much. This list only gets more extreme from here. Hit subscribe before we get to number 1. Number 4, Cadillac CT5V Blackwing, $84,990, 668 horsepower with a 6-speed manual transmission. No BMW M5 offers a manual. No AMG E63. No RS7. Only the Blackwing. Every engine is hand-built by one master builder who signs a plaque on each one. It tops 200 miles per hour and pulls over 1 G on the skid pad. The first 250 Collector Series units sold out in minutes. Edmunds called it one of the best sport sedans ever built. It costs $30,000 less than its German rivals and matches them on track. Cadillac confirmed it is the last gasoline-powered V-Series they will ever make. Get one now or regret it forever. Number 3, Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat. Starting around $60,000, 717 horsepower, 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3.4 seconds. The car that launched the modern horsepower wars. A supercharged 6.2-liter Hemi 5.8 with 717 horsepower and a top speed of 199 miles per hour for about $60,000. The black key fob limits power to 500 horsepower. Switch to the red one and all 717 wake up. The red eye pushed it to 797 horsepower and 203 miles per hour. The Demon ran 9s. The Demon 170 ran 8s. But the Hellcat is the one that started everything. It's the one that made Dodge the brand the internet worships. Over 800,000 third-generation Challengers were sold during the platform's 15-year run. Production ended December 31st, 2023. The supercharged Hemi is gone forever. The Hellcat was its greatest expression, raw, loud, unapologetic, and absolutely iconic. People lined up at dealerships for the last call editions. Grown men got emotional watching the final one roll off the assembly line. No car in the last decade created a cultural moment like that. Number 2, Ford GT. It cost $450,750. It makes 660 horsepower, and it has a top speed of 216 miles per hour. Ford built this car to go back to Le Mans and win. It took its class at the 2016 24 Hours of Le Mans, 50 years after the GT40's legendary victory. Only about 1,350 were produced. You couldn't just buy one, you had to apply. Over 6,500 people applied for the first 500 slots. It has a full carbon fiber monocoque, a Gorilla Glass windshield, and it weighs 3,250 pounds. The original manufacturer's suggested retail price was $450,000. Today, they sell for over $800,000, with Heritage Editions clearing $1 million at auction. The movie Ford V Ferrari grossed over $225 million and won 2 Oscars, bringing the GT legacy to millions who had never heard of Le Mans. This car is already a legend. Every year, it appreciates in value. It proves Ford was right to make it almost impossible to buy. And then there's number 1, 60 years in the making. The car Chevrolet always wanted to build, but never could until now. Chevrolet Corvette C8, starting at $59,995 and up to 1,064 horsepower in the ZR1. For the first time in 70 years, the engine moved behind the driver. Mid-engine, the layout that defines every Ferrari, Lamborghini, and McLaren, it started at under $60,000, less than a base Porsche 911, and hit 60 miles per hour in 2.8 seconds. The Z06 brought a flat-plane crank V8, revving to 8,600 revolutions per minute, 670 naturally aspirated horsepower, the most powerful naturally aspirated V8 ever in a production car. Quarter mile in 10.5 seconds for about $106,000. A Ferrari F8 costs nearly 3 times as much and is not faster. The E-Ray became the first hybrid and first all-wheel drive Corvette. 655 combined horsepower, a stealth mode that runs on pure electric power, and then the ZR1 twin turbo flat plane crank V8, 1,064 horsepower, 233 miles per hour verified. At the Nurburgring, 6 minutes 50 seconds, the fastest American production car ever, starting at $175,000. The Ferrari F80 makes comparable power and costs $3.7 million. The C8 won 2020 Motor Trend Car of the Year, North American Car of the Year, and made Car and Drivers 10 Best 7 years running, over 169,000 sold. The C8R race car won IMSA championships and a World Endurance Championship, proving the platform on the biggest stages in motorsport. At every price point, from $60,000 to $175,000, nothing on earth touches it for the money. It is my number 1. So here's the thing about this list. Every car on it would have been unthinkable 20 years ago. A Corvette faster than a Ferrari for a third of the price. A Cadillac sedan with a manual that embarrasses German rivals who costs $30,000 more. A hybrid pickup truck outselling everything in its class. American automakers stopped chasing horsepower for the sake of it and started building cars that are genuinely world-class on the track, on the street, and on a spreadsheet. Which car did I rank wrong, and what would your number 1 be? Drop it in the comments. See you in the next video.